Okay, today we're going to cover bank shots, kick shots, and do a little bit more on 8-ball because next week is our big tournament, okay? And remember, I won't be here next Saturday, so we're going to hold class Friday at 9 o'clock. And I will send you all emails and stuff just to remind you, like on Thursday or around that time. We're going to play short rack 8-ball. And I think you'll have a lot of fun with that. We'll try to just play one game with each person in the class, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. As you have progressed through the class, I know I do reviews of each thing we did in the past class, and I just want to ask you, is there anything on combinations or things that we covered last time about 8-ball and position play that you wanted to ask before we move on?
Did you cover the rail shot, putting English into the rail shot? Did you cover that?
Okay, are you saying when the object ball is frozen to the rail?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good question because a shot like this, you can actually help yourself with English. Now, if I wanted to make the 12 in the corner pocket, if I put a little left English, you'll notice that the cue ball is turning this way. And as it hits the rail, it bites into the ball. It actually helps the 12 to go in the pocket. Now, outside or right English would actually make the shot a little more difficult. But you know what, Tim? It depends on position, though. You have to play the shot that gets the appropriate cue ball location so you can continue your run. But if that was the 8-ball, I would be tempted to use a little left English to make sure I made the shot. Okay? Yeah.
So I understand the left English.
Yeah.
Someone told me that using right English in that situation accomplishes something, and whatever they told me, I didn't understand.
Oh,
why. Is there something going on there?
Actually, it makes it harder to make the ball with right English. In fact, it would be only as a last resort that I would use right English on that. And because I needed positions, like on this shot, maybe I had a shot like this, and I needed to get the cue ball on this side of the table.
Yeah.
All right. That would be a reason.
So they must not know what they're talking about on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anything else before we move on?
Why don't you just demonstrate right and left?
On this shot?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Okay. All right, let's say that the 9-ball is right there, and I'm playing position from the 12 to the 9. Now here would be a good reason to use a little left English, because with straight high ball, the cue ball would cross the line right here, wouldn't it? But with a little left English, it's going to go 1 rail, 2 rail, right into the line of the next shot. And that's the appropriate way to play a shot like this. So I'm not going to use a whole lot, just a little bit of left English.
So on that, is your goal to touch the rail first, just a split second before
Exactly.
the object ball?
Now, the quickest way to miss this shot is hit ball first. The reason why is that it immediately comes off the rail and it'll probably hang up. But if you're a hair before the ball, like this, we call it a credit card's width. The chances of making it are excellent. All right. And also, you hear people say to hit the ball and the rail at the same time. Well, that'll work too. But but shots like that with left English do make it a little easier. There, that's the shot.
So when you use the right English to be in position there, was your goal then to contact the ball and the rail at the same time instead of?
Not as much. You got to get closer to the ball because
still
that right English
ball
comes off sharp. The left English bites into the ball. The right English comes off sharper. So therefore, you got to get closer to the ball, more like ball and rail at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. And English does make everything a lot more complicated. Okay? All right, let's talk about kick shots. Now, I think you all know the difference between a bank and a kick. A lot of times when you're playing 8-ball, you'd have a situation like this. You know, we won't put it right by the pocket. That would make it too easy. Let's say you have this shot and you want to win the game. How would you calculate where on the rail to hit it to make the 8-ball in the shot? That's what we're going to talk about. And there are a lot of systems like this. Some people use the diamonds. Some people use the midpoint between the balls. There are a lot of different ways you can do this. But here's a real simple one that I like. It's only 2 steps to calculate this. All I have to do is, which side of the 8 do I need to hit in order to make it? So pretty much right there, right? If I had a ghost ball. So I go across the table, straight across from where the ghost ball is going to hit. And you notice I'm going to keep that tip right where it is. And I'm going to swing my cue to the midpoint between the cue ball and the 8. And then I parallel shift. Lo and behold, looks like if I go right at that diamond, I should be able to make the 8 and come close. You see how that works, and it does not matter where the 8-ball and the cue ball are. It works from anywhere. We'll just move it around a little. Same shot.
Pivot point?
Yeah, that's the pivot point. I
Because
go
I
all the
noticed
way to the
when you
diamond.
swing it, the tip kind of goes over like that.
Well, I don't usually use my cue when I
Yeah,
do
but
it.
I mean for us, if we're playing
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you put it right where the diamond would be, and then swing it up.
Okay.
Yeah. The midpoint, parallel shift. And this time I'll hit a little easier, and it'll go. But it's a lot of fun to practice that. And let's do a few banks. And the first thing I want to say about banking is that banking is an art, because there's so many variables of a bank. Now, as far as a system for banking goes, we can use the same one I just showed you. Let's say I have a bank like this, and this pocket is blocked, so I'm going to bank the ball in here and hopefully win the game. So, it's interesting. I want to find the midpoint between the 9-ball and the pocket here, which would be right about here. Okay. Then I take my cue and just go straight across to the other side pocket that I want to make it in. And then I parallel shift. So that's the spot I aim for. Okay, midpoint between the 9 and the pocket you're banking it in. Cue across to the other pocket, parallel shift. So it's about 1.5 inches to the left of the diamond.
Can you do that again?
Yeah, we'll do it at different angles and stuff. We'll do one in the corner even. Same. Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
Got a little confused by 2 object balls. I wasn't sure what was going on there.
Oh, I want to just block the pocket, that's all. So show you I couldn't make it in there, so I had to.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
do that again?
All right. First thing I do is just find the midpoint between the ball I want to make and the pocket I want to make it in, which is right here. Go across to the opposite pocket on the other side. From that midpoint, parallel shift. So this time I'm a little further over to the left. And again, speed will be a big deal here. If I hit it hard, it'll come short. Hit it softer, it'll go long. Yeah.
Does under or overspin or English affect it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I found that when I try to do that, I lose my accuracy on it.
Well, underspin will actually make it go this way a little further, draw. Because you're putting forward roll on the object ball. When the backspin puts forward roll on the object. But it depends on the speed. If you hit it hard, it won't matter.
Oh, okay.
That's why when you watch bank pool in Kentucky, they're slamming those balls, because that straightens out the bank more. You know.
Yeah.
But English, yeah, like if I use right English, it'll throw the ball this way more. If I use left English, it'll tighten it up to this side.
So relative to the bank pool situation you just described,
Yeah,
if by hitting it harder removes this variability that we're dealing with between a softer and a harder shot,
yeah.
why not, just by definition, shoot a bank shot like they do in bank pool so it's more accurate?
Because whenever you take a really hard stroke, you have to be, at a higher level of play to be able to control that. Just like that drill we did in the middle of the table, try to test your stroke. If you hit that hard, it's very difficult to come back and hit the tip of your cue. And when you're beginning, slamming in banks is not going to help you. In fact, a lot of times, you probably want to start out with medium speed banks. Sometimes what people do, they'll have something like this. Let's say, this is an interesting shot. This is a shot where the angle of a natural bank comes way to this side, doesn't it? Okay? So on this shot, I want to hit this a lot harder so it shrinks up and goes in the pocket. So I'm going to have to hit this with a lot more speed. Now see, if I'd hit that easy, it would have come way over there. It's so sensitive to how hard you hit it. Because what's happening when you hit it hard is the object ball sinks deeply into the rail and it shortens the ball up.
So when the line drawn between the cue ball and the object ball is inside, I don't know how else to put it. Excuse me.
And then you hit it hard.
Outside.
Yeah.
Where your cue ball is in threat of interfering with the path of the rebounding ball. How do you handle that then?
Well, that was an example of it. Because if I had hit that softer, it would have double kissed.
So
you want to, those kind of shots, when you got the cue ball out of the way, you want to hit it harder and hit it lower too.
What about left or right English, depending instead?
Well, I don't want to really get into using English, but you could do it that way too. But that same shot with left English, I wouldn't have to hit it as hard, and I could shorten it up. Here's an example of that. This time I'll put a little left English, and I won't hit it near as hard. That's pretty hard. You notice how that shortened up. Because the cue ball with left English is turning left to right, which puts this kind of spin on there, which shrinks it down. Yeah. But it's a lot to it. Let's see. Let's try a different kind of a bank. Yeah, let's try one from down here. Let's say we're banking the 9 into this pocket. Now, again, we find our midpoint between the 9 and the pocket we're trying to make, which is right here. We'll cross to that pocket, parallel shift, almost right on the diamond. Almost right on the diamond. Around to help you out, we can work with this in practice. But keep in mind, a lot of banking is artistic. And when I say banking is artistic, there's so many variables that after a while you just learn, what type of speed and what kind of angle you need to hit it. Like a lot of people bank from instinct only. They just kind of see it and they know it. Just from experience. Okay, anything else on that? Warren, anything yet?
I'm just, trying to work position and take a bank shot. I found that I just can't do that. If I try to work position and as you take a shot.
Yeah.
It's such a low percentage. I'm basically throwing the shot away,
Okay.
and that's just something I'd like to, if I could. I guess I need to put more hours on it, learning how to do it.
Well, sometimes a good drill, if you want to improve your banking, is just stagger the balls all the way across half the table like this, and then just practice banking it. Now, there's two types of banks, Warren. There's a straight bank and there's a cut bank. The straight banks, the ones I've been demonstrating, are fairly easy, okay, because they're straight in. Like if I make the 12, it's clear exactly where to hit and to make it. But what happens if the ball is on either side of the 12? That changes everything drastically. Because if I'm banking in here, I'm cutting the ball, aren't I? Which puts spin on it, okay, like that. And if I'm cutting it from this direction, it puts spin like that.
Which twists it when it comes off the
exactly. So one thing to practice is not just these straight banks, but try the banks at an angle. Like in this case, I'm going to bank the 12 in the side pocket. Now, when I cut the 12 into the rail, I'm going to cross it. It's going to put left English on it. So when it hits the rail, it's going to come further to this side of the pocket. So what I'm going to have to do is play it not so like I would normally hit it here. I'm going to have to hit a little farther to the right of that. And you can even watch the 12 how it'll twist a little bit.
You know that the carom of the cue ball off the object ball was going to get out of the way fast enough to
Well, I knew it would because I was crossing it, and I think it got out of the way pretty good. But see, the closer you are to the rail, that can be a real problem. See, banks, when the object ball is on or near the rail, become that much harder. Yeah. Now, for example, if the 14 was like this, frozen to the rail, that's an extremely difficult bank because all the systems fail. Because it's so close to the rail that it's always going to come up short. Like, for example, the bank, the 14 back here, I've got to cut this probably a lot more than I think I do. So instead of hitting it about here, I'm going to go about a quarter inch to the right of that. It's really tough. Those are really artistic shots because you have to be experienced on how to hit those, and it takes a lot of practice.
So getting the cue ball out of the way on something like that, I think some players intentionally use outside English to get the cue ball out of the way.
You're exactly right, Tim. Most good players on that shot would have used more outside English. The reason for that is they wanted to get as further to this side of the pocket as they could. And that helped to get the cue ball out of the way as well. But a lot of shots are like this. Anybody think they can bank that 15 in here? It's impossible because there's no way to bank that because you'll double kiss every time. Which means the cue ball, as the 15 comes off the rail, will come back and hit the cue ball. Or just like that. We call that a double kiss.
You and I talked about it once before, but can you show us the range where you said that's an impossible shot? Where's the range where it becomes possible?
Well, I can only show it on an individual shot. Let me do that.
Yeah.
Let's put the 15 there. Anywhere from here to here, I can make it. About to there from this side.
Okay.
Anything like to here, probably not. Or here, probably not. Not. But from this side, I can get the cue ball out of the way. If I get it further away from the pocket, then that's makeable. Okay. Because I can get the cue ball out of the way. but it's a shot that I've got to hit it hard and maybe cut it a little more to get the cue ball out of the way. Yeah, this is makeable.
And where did you hit the cue ball?
Center ball.
Center ball.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, again, that's the big illusion about pools. You got to use English on too many shots, and you end up hitting the ball inaccurately. That's the biggest problem with beginning pool players. They want to get more advanced too quickly than, again, master the center axis, even on banks. And then once you can start making banks, then you can start experimenting with English. All right, next week we're going to do 8-ball, and we're going to be playing the new rules. I want to talk a little bit about the break. Is that okay? Or is that something you want to? All right. Now, for this case, since a lot of you will be playing with a full rack, I want to cover a few things. Now, in BCA rules, there's only 2 rules for racking the balls. The 8 always goes in the middle, obviously. And on the wings, back here, you have to have a stripe and a solid on each side. You can't have 2 stripes or 2 solids on the wings. And again, when you're racking the balls for yourself, it's really important to rack them tight. Because it's just nothing's going to happen if the balls aren't frozen. So when you rack the balls, you'll notice I use my thumbs in the back and I turn the balls forward like that.
There's an entire bar.
Really important. Sometimes they hold, sometimes they don't. Then what you do is you slide the rack up slightly and then lift. And you can examine these. These are tight now. And that's the way to get them tight. And they actually changed the rules a lot in 8-ball now. Almost everywhere you play, it's rack your own. And the reason for that is you only have one person to be mad at if you get a bad rack.
You didn't get the old bar rack.
And trust me, I've bad racked myself quite a few times. All right, 2 philosophies on the break. I know Chuck likes to break from the middle. Center or middle, yeah. And then a lot of people like to break by hitting the second ball from the wing, either wing from either side. Now, what I wanted to say about that is, in the old days, that was the best break. And the reason why that was the best break in the old days was that if you make the 8-ball, you won the game. Under the new rules, the modern international rules, if you make the 8 on the break, it's simply spots. And that's the way we're going to play next Friday. Now, a lot of people still feel that playing the second ball is a better way to make a ball. That may be true, but it always usually results in clusters around the table, which make it very difficult and long games. I think I'm more into, Okay. And you can see they got a pretty good spread. They didn't cluster up too bad. But let's go from here and talk about 8-ball again. This is a chance to think about strategy and everything. All right, what do we got here as far as, what would you take, the stripes or the solids? What do you see there?
Solid.
Okay. What would you shoot if you were taking solids?
I'll probably try that 6 combo there.
All right, all right. Any other observations?
You want to solve your problems,
All right, yeah.
so I would do the one down the corner, follow it a little bit, and be able to pick up the 7.
Okay.
Solve all the problems on that side, and then come back for the rest of the rack.
All right.
So on that,
Yeah.
Lauren's idea there, what about instead leave that in case you need
Ball later.
bailed out later?
Yeah, okay. Call that a safety valve, right?
Yeah.
But you actually do have another kind of a safety valve there. And another thing too that I'd like to point out, that an 8-ball after the break, since I didn't make anything, I can actually use a stripe to make a solid or a solid to make a stripe. But once you establish your group, either stripes or solids, then you must make a legal shot on that ball from then on. This is kind of...
Eight ball is never neutral.
Yeah, 8 ball never neutral, yeah. How about the 11? Does the 11 go? Yeah, it does. That's probably the easiest shot on the table. You know, the combination looks fairly easy, but you know, it can be missable.
Are you governed a lot by making sure you make that first shot? Is that?
Well, it'll depend. You know, like Warren says, that one of the main things you're looking at is where are my trouble balls and which group has a better chance in the long run of getting through the rack. Anyway, let's, actually the 4 ball would make a nice key ball if I can get there. But the 2 ball is definitely a problem, isn't it? See, even if I make this combination, you know, the 11 is in the way. So I know it seems kind of counterintuitive, but I think I might even consider the stripes instead of the solids. The reason being is because the 2 balls had a dead back here. And I think I would shoot the 11 like this, and come around and play the 15 and the 9. Now I got a chance to play the 15 and roll down so I can play the 12 in there, and I've got most of my problems eliminated. So we're going to play the 15, straight ahead. Yeah. Well, I got kind of thin, didn't I? But I think I can still make it. So this one, I'm going to cut the 12 in the corner and go 2 rails and come back like that. But I'm going to lose control of the cue ball, which is never good. Whenever you're losing control of the cue ball, it's a problem. So I got to hit this one pretty hard. Well, we'll see it in a minute. All right, now, we got a bank shot now, don't we? Now, here's a position where I have a very, very difficult shot where I could cut it in, but the bank might be a better option. What would you do here if you were stripes? I could even bank the 13, couldn't I?
9's tight.
Yeah, the 9 won't go. Yeah. Well, I guess it could, but that's a really low percentage shot. Sometimes, you know, we've learned that sometimes you want to play safety. Now that I can see a few ways to play safe, I could play off my 14 ball and put the cue ball down here behind the 6, and my opponent wouldn't have anything to shoot with it.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is just really a newbie question, and I hate to waste everybody's time, but I'm confused between just saying I'm going to play it safe or calling a safety. Is that all the same thing?
Same thing.
Is it?
Same
Okay.
thing, yeah. Yeah. In fact...
and you have to say it? Because sometimes if you just miss a shot, it ends up being the same as if you would have called
We'll see in league and tournament play, it's call shot anyway. So it's better for to say you're playing safe, I found. Because if you don't, your opponent, it can be very confusing.
Okay.
Because you can actually make a ball and play safe.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to call safe in that
instance.
Yeah.
But
otherwise you wouldn't have to.
okay, because if you go for a shot and miss it, it could end up being the same, you know.
Right.
How do you know if you're playing safe? Sometimes I play safe not on purpose.
Yeah, right. And again, if you're just having a friendly game, you have to worry about it. But when you play league and tournaments, you know, in fact, I got to tell you a story. There was a woman player, Savannah, I guess is her first name, in Vegas a couple of days ago. Did you hear about that? She's a wonderful pool player. She's like over 600 Fargo. She had 2 solid balls like this right in front of the pocket, And she rolled it in, made the combination, and was ready to shoot her next shot. And everybody in the world knew exactly what she was shooting, but the guy called the foul because she didn't call it. I mean, technically you're supposed to call your shot, but you know, that was kind of bad form, everybody thought, you know.
Cutting the 14 in would break the 8 free of the rail and
Yeah.
free you from having to rely on that key ball.
Okay. I think I might take a risk and do that. The bank is a pretty low percentage. It would go. And the 13 I could bank over here, but I do like the cut shot. And I've got to hit it really thin, so you want to overcut these a little bit. Say I lost control of the cue ball again because I had, you know, such a difficult shot. Now I'm getting deeper and deeper in the doo-doo, right? So from way back here, I have a shot in the corner, and it even provides position, but it, you know, varies like, you know, quite a difficult shot. But we'll try to roll it in. See, I didn't get position. I was hoping I could get over there by the 10. But I will try that shot that Tim showed me a little bit ago. I'll try to make the 9 in the corner and come around. Oh, now that surprised me because there was almost no room to get through it. Now, if I make the 10, I should have pretty decent shape on the 8. But this is an extremely tough shot. And I really don't want to run into the 4, because if I hit the 4, I might end up down there. I just want to make the 10. And again, when you get these kind of shots, you got to overcut them just a little bit. Now you must call the 8. It doesn't matter. You have to call the 8. Now, when you're in a league or a tournament or on Friday, it's not a big deal, but the thing is that a lot of times there's loud music. A lot of people just point. In fact, the pros were doing that the other day playing 10 ball. You know, they would just point to the pocket like that. They didn't even call it. So that's just the same. Now, when you're shooting the 8 ball, some people get all tentative and nervous when they shoot the 8 ball, right? And the reason why they do that is they want to take extra care. That usually causes a miss. You want to stay with your pre-shot routine and hit it like you would a normal shot. Because too often people shoot an 8 ball trying not to miss. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
And they hit it too easy or something? Okay. Normal shot. Go through your pre-shot routine, get behind the 8, see where you swing down. A couple of warm-up strokes. And again, that I see that all the time. I've been playing League for 30 or more plus years. And try to stay with your routine. And that's the reason why I keep emphasizing that, because the pre-shot routine makes your shots routine, okay? In other words, you don't put extra importance on one shot over another. I don't care how easy or how hard the shot is. Just stay with your routine. That's your comfort zone. All right, one quick safety, and then let me get a couple of balls here. Let me put the one out here, 13. Ball. All right, here's kind of an interesting shot. We're playing a game of 8 ball. I just wanted to demonstrate one safety shot that I think is pretty cool. And this particular shot, I can't shoot the 1, but I have an open shot on the 6. But then I look at the 4 and the 5, they're pretty much out of commission, all right? So what I might do in a situation like this is I'll go ahead and make the 6 and then I'll play safety because I see kind of a fun safety down there. So I'm just going to hit a high ball like that. And then I'm going to try to hook my opponent. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit the 5 and call safety. Look what I did. I had this opportunity to hook my opponent so that he can't hit his ball. And now my opponent has stripes, but you know, I should have had the 8 ball on the table somewhere. But my opponent's got to make a legal hit on the 13 in order to avoid giving me ball in hand at that point. So you look for opportunities sometimes when there's no way to win the game outright to try to hook your opponent like this.
Is there a way of hitting the 13?
Well, yeah. I'm going to have to elevate my cue like this and do some spin because I got to spin it around the floor, hit the rail, and come there. You call that a masse shot.
I'm sorry, what?
A masse shot,
Okay.
where you jack up your cue and hit the right side or the left side and punch down. The cue ball will curve like that.
Are those legal?
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah.
Feel free to.
Oh, you want it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. See, if I hit here, the cue ball's going to come like that, right? This is a really low percentage shot, Steve. In fact, I wouldn't even, well, I guess I could call it in the corner down there. But what I'm going to do is jack up like this, and I'm going to punch down. Oh, I hit it! Okay. All right. See, but see, the point is that safeties can win games, all right? Yeah, I showed you a safety that can win games. Now,
That was impressive.
there's 3 things that you got to think about when you're playing safety. One is leave your opponent long. That's number 1. Number 2 on safeties is hook your opponent behind a ball like this. And the third thing is maybe do something that's going to improve your lot. Let me show you what I mean. A lot of people just do safeties for the first 2 reasons, but a lot of times you have a couple of balls tied up like this. And
How much of a trash can
we'll put the 8 there, cue ball here. Oh, like this. Yeah, here's an example. Okay, let's say I've got solids and I've got a nice easy shot on the 1 ball on the side. But instead of doing that, think about where the 4 and the 5 are. There's no way to win the game from here, really, is there?
So
So
you
what?
shoot the 1 off of the 5 into the side.
Okay, I could do that, yeah. Let's get the cue ball out right there. But I have a couple of options here. I could do that too, and maybe get ball in hand. But Tim is right. I would much prefer to do this. I would prefer to go right off the 5 so I open up those 2 balls. And I'm also at the same time I'm playing safe. Now I have both my balls out in the open and my opponent is hooked again. So it's, you know, just different ideas to throw out there about safeties. And I know safeties, you know, when you're not a real experienced player is a very, how should I say, remote part of the game because we don't think about that when we're playing our buddies and stuff. But when you're in a tournament or a league, you start thinking about that a lot, except for Tim. I know he's very competitive. Yeah. Anything else about safeties?
What prevents your opponent then from also playing a safety?
Nothing.
So you can get
In fact, you get some long games that drive people crazy, you know, because, yeah.
I've
In
seen
fact,
games go 30 minutes.
yeah.
Oh, just defensive.
Yeah, they're just playing little chicken shots.
Okay.
You know what really infuriates me though is when players have wide open shots to win the game and they play safety.
Well, what would be the purpose of that?
Well, they frustrate your opponent.
No.
I mean, what's the purpose of that, Chuck? I don't know.
There's one moment that it will do that.
Yeah, well, no, there's several players in the league that will do that, right, Warren?
Oh yeah, Lisa, she's the safety.
You know who I was talking about.